Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and we're continuing our look at the Robots in Disguise Decepticon Commandos, as we now take a look at their leader, Mega-Octane. Mega-Octane was called Dull Railer in the Japanese line, and of course for you G1 fans, he is basically a repaint of the Combaticon Onslaught. Of course, you'll also notice a major difference here in the fact that Mega-Octane has a shield, whereas Onslaught does not. The ramp on Mega-Octane has been built to have a post on the back of it, that way he can hold it as a shield, whereas Onslaught's original ramp was not given such a feature. So he basically can't use it for anything but as a ramp when he's in his base mode. Kind of a disappointment if you ask me, but that comes with the benefits of what we call hindsight. And it is always in 2020. Now, to point out a few features on Mega-Octane in comparison to his Japanese version, a lot of this blue-gray plastic here that you see all over him, like on the ramp, on his chest, and the gun barrels back there, that was done in a more ugly yellow color on the Japanese toy. Plus, of course, the green was done up in a darker shade. Although the camo print here on his legs is a nice touch, which extends all over his vehicle mode. Except for back here on the extended part of the trailer, whereas in the Japanese version, it does carry over. Why Hasbro didn't allow that to be carried over is beyond me. And of course, just like with all the other Commandos, the Decepticon insignia here would likely be replaced with an anti-Cybertron sticker to match how it is on the others. Now, taking a look at his articulation, he has the same articulation that Onslaught would have had, meaning that we can turn his head from side to side, which was always a nice feature in G1 days. He can raise his arm up at the shoulder, about so far, but he can also put it all the way up over his head. And he can rotate his arm at the shoulder all the way around. His legs are done in such a way that he can be spread out to do a full splits. And if you bump his arm the wrong way, he will throw his gun behind him. You can also have his legs bent at the hip about so far, like that, to do some weird-looking stance. Almost kind of similar to Rey's training stance in The Last Jedi, which anybody that knows anything about fighting will tell you that's a bad stance. So, if anybody at Disney is watching, please make sure that's not repeated in the next Star Wars movie. Alright, let's transform Mega-Octane. Of course, to do that, first we need to remove all of his loose pieces, which includes all of his weapons. Well, you can tell this is a brand new toy. That sticks in there very good. And, of course, remove the chest shield. To transform him, we first slide in his fists into his arms. And then we fold the arms up totally to cover his head, like so. I'm going to bring the legs together, press them firmly against each other, and then slide them up against his waist. Then we turn him over and fold out the rear wheels. And then, of course, we add in the large cannon. And there we have Mega-Octane's alternate mode. And of course, since he's basically a repaint of Onslaught, he has the same vehicle mode. A modified U.S. Army flatbed truck, a TMT 18420. A missile trailer. But of course, Mega-Octane has one extra bonus feature. Due to the way his turret gun here is designed, it does have a hole in the back of it. That's meant in the combined form of Ruination, you can attach the ramp to it and be able to hold on to it. But in this case, for the missile trailer, you can attach his gun to it. And that gives you an extra weapon. And since this weapon can rotate in all directions, rotate 360 degrees, you have complete turret coverage. And of course, since the missile cannon here can raise up a bit, it just doesn't stay up very good. Let's try it now. There we go. It's pretty stiff. You gotta make it ratchet. And now you've also got some anti-air weaponry too. All in all, not very bad. This is actually pretty good. Have that kind of coverage. And of course, he's also got a good set of wheels underneath him, but he has 10 wheels altogether, and they're all real wheels now. So, how does he roll? Rolls very good. And with almost no effort whatsoever. So, very nice. Now, of course, as an added bonus, since he is a retool of Onslaught, he does also have the base mode. Which, of course, for starters, we remove the cannon. We're going to separate his legs and pull them out. Then we'll bend them up here and fold them flush against the sides of the truck, like so. Open up the cab and fold the arms down, like so. The ramp will have a little bar at the top of it that will connect here. There we go. Snaps right into place. And then, of course, you mount the cannon, which has a slight difference to the original. There's an extra post in here. So you would just line that up to connect into the hole on the back of Mega-Octane's head, and it will securely hold that in place. And there we have the ramp mode, which can also hold both guns like the other. And for comparison's sake, here's Onslaught in his ramp mode. But his cannon isn't as sturdy on here just due to the fact it just sets on the head, because Onslaught does not have a post to connect it to his head, so it just has to snugly fit. And it barely does so, but it does. So, can't argue with that, but I do like the fact that they took the time to modify this new one, so it does have a nice, sturdy connection. Let's take a look now at all of Mega-Octane's loose pieces. We'll start here with the Ruination fists. Molded exactly like the Bruticus fists, except these are in a dark gray, not silver. And they even still have the L and R molded onto them, so that you'll know which one is the right hand, which one's the left hand. We have the Ruination head, which again is done up in dark gray plastic instead of silver. And of course it has some black details to help further differentiate it from Bruticus. We have over here the 2 foot stands. Again, molded in dark gray instead of silver, but they still retain the L and R on the underside and on the top right. Something to definitely watch out for if you're trying to cobble together Ruination or Bruticus. Of course, we have the Ruination chest shield. Again, it's in dark gray instead of silver. And it also has some black detailing. Which I will admit to you viewers, I kind of like this chest shield better than I do Bruticus's. At least there's a nice splash of color on here. It looks nice. And of course we have the small chest shield. It's the one Mega-Octane has. As you can see, it's in dark green plastic, whereas Onslaught's is in dark blue and should have a sticker, whereas Mega-Octane does not have a sticker. We have the ramp. Again, the ramp is in dark gray, not silver. Plus, the ramp here has the added post on the back. Whereas right here is the Onslaught ramp, and you can clearly see it does not have that. We have his rifle, which as you can see has also been modified to have holes in it, have a hole in it. This is due to the fact that Ruination can merge a lot of their weapons together to form a super gun. Should look pretty impressive. And lastly, we have the missile turret. And there we go, all of Mega-Octane's loose parts. Now, unlike in previous videos where I'd just cut to the chase on giving you my thoughts, we actually have a little more to compare between these two guys. Mega-Octane, surprisingly, was released on card, as this here is his card. Whereas for us G1 fans, Onslaught came in a box. So quite a significant difference in terms of marketing and packaging between the two toys. But of course, part of the reason for doing this is to create less garbage waste. But we also know the whole box could have been recycled. Whereas on the carded figure, only the backer can be recycled. Most places don't really recycle the plastic bubble or the plastic tray. I think nowadays, though, that's becoming a little more common to be able to recycle those. But Mega-Octane also included something of a tech spec card here on the back of the packaging. Unfortunately, it doesn't really give us any ideas about who or what he is. Just going by the Wikia, it states that he enjoys being in charge and in command. So we know he's a bit power mad and a bit of a dominator. We'd joke on that, but this is a family channel, so we'll forget that part. We also got over here, we got a nice picture of Ruination, a showing of all of his comrades. I like how the fact here on Mega-Octane, they show him in his vehicle mode with the missile turret pointing the opposite direction. Guess that's so you can see the truck better. At any rate, it gives Mega-Octane's motto as, "I command you to destroy." He almost seems to channel up the G.I. Joe villain Serpentor with his common line of, "This I command." But at any rate, let's look at his stats. It says that his strength and intelligence are both 8, his speed is 7, his endurance and rank are both 8, his courage and fire blast are both 9s, and his skill is 8. So Mega-Octane is a very powerful warrior. How does that compare, though, to Onslaught? Onslaught's strength and intelligence were also 8s. His speed is 3, so Mega-Octane is considerably faster. His endurance and rank are both 7, so, again, Mega-Octane is better in that stats. His courage and firepower are both 8s, so again, better still. And his skill is 9, whereas Mega-Octane is 8, so Onslaught may match him in strength and intelligence, but Onslaught is a better leader. Now, why is that, as we get into my final thoughts? Onslaught's bio stated clearly that he was something of a strategist, and he enjoyed war games, especially those that he could play out himself in his mind. That way he didn't have to worry about somebody else screwing him up. Now, again, while this makes him more of a perfectionist on that, it did allow him to also come up with his own ways to create counters to his own strategies, thus making him a little bit more capable of being a fast thinker when situations went wrong on the battlefield. And as we don't get any sort of background info into that on Mega-Octane, I think that's what hurts him more as the effective leader. We know that Mega-Octane just enjoys being in charge. And just being in charge, while sometimes can be a good thing, more often than not, and I'm sure many of you out there that have worked with people like that know from experience, that doesn't always work well in terms of leadership. You need to have somebody that you can believe in that will get you through situations that you're in. And somebody like Onslaught that spends a lot of time thinking about his strategies is obviously going to be a better leader, since he has more of an idea of how to plan for the unexpected. Whereas if all he is like Mega-Octane and just enjoys being in charge, he's not exactly going to be the best motivator. Thankfully, though, his minions do seem to be extremely loyal to him, as supposedly they even defer command of what Ruination does, all to Mega-Octane. So maybe that's what helps give him such a high-ranking stat on his tech spec for his skill. As a toy, Mega-Octane is a pretty good improvement over Onslaught. Granted, all he is basically a straight repaint, but some of the improvements that they've done to the toy are a nice touch. I do like the addition of the post on the ramp to give him the use of it as a shield. That's a nice little bonus to have, and it makes you less likely to lose the ramp in the first place. I'm surprised that this wasn't done in the G1 version, but probably nobody thought of it at the time. It's hard to say, but it is nice to see that this one is a nice improvement. His color scheme with the bright orange could leave a little to be desired, but all in all, I like the camouflage pattern on the truck. It certainly looks a lot better than the dark blue that Onslaught had. So, I think definitely Mega-Octane deserves to be in the top tier status. He takes something that was done before back in the 80s and he does improve it, very slightly, but just enough. And that concludes my comparison review of Mega-Octane to his G1 counterpart, Onslaught. I hope you all enjoyed it out there. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up here on YouTube. New to the channel, please hit the subscribe button down below to join up in our ranks. And ring the notification bell so you'll be notified when I post new content. And please consider sharing your thoughts about Mega-Octane or Onslaught in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.